From here, you literally have a view of everything in this valley, everywhere. You're leading all the way down to Cusco. You basically have control over the entire Sacred Valley. This is probably one of the most important sites in Incan history, and it is incredible to show you guys this place because this right here is Ollantaytambo. Good morning, guys, and welcome to the beautiful town of Ollantaytambo right here in Peru's famous Sacred Valley. We've woken up at roughly around like 5:30 in the morning. Right now it's about 6. The sun has risen, and just look at this place behind me. There are literally clouds that are sort of hanging near the mountains because it's so cold and it's so early in the morning. And if you listen carefully, you'll hear that there is a river that is running through right in front of me. This river leads to the Urubamba River, which sort of feeds the entire Sacred Valley. This is how most of the people living in this area get their fresh water, which is incredible how fresh the water is that is running through here. Today, we're going to be exploring the town of Ollantaytambo. Today, it's a new day, and it is a bright new day here in Ollantaytambo. Now, just got the drone up, just got some beautiful sunrise shots. I'm sure you could see them for yourself, but what a beautiful sunrise Peru has to offer. In the mountains, in the valleys, you can see the colors of the sky slowly change, and it is incredible, which is why when you're here in Ollantaytambo or when you're here in the Sacred Valley, wake up early. It's gonna be worth it. It's going to be beautiful. A quick turn into the little alleyways of Ollantaytambo, and you get to streets like these that are just so incredibly cute. They've got little cobblestones and they are so adorable. These stones, I mean, I can only imagine how long ago these buildings were probably built by the Incans. Look at these big stones. I mean, now it is different from the Incans in that there is concrete that fills in the blanks between the rocks. Usually, for example, in Cusco or in 𝐋𝐈𝐍𝐊, if you saw, the rocks are so closely aligned to each other that they don't put concrete. It just is able to survive on its own by that alone. But this street, it is so incredibly cute. I have to say, from my first impressions here, Ollantaytambo is one of the cutest towns I've been to. It is just so adorable. You've got these sort of brick walls, you've got these cute little sort of narrow alleyways. This is exactly what you dream about when you think about visiting a local Peruvian town in the Sacred Valley. What a great way to start the day.
You are so cute, aren't you? You're just a big fluffy dolphin.
I have never seen a bench like this that is literally on the water. If you're on your phone and you accidentally drop it, that's it. You're gone. We're not recommend sitting on this bench, but great acoustics though. You'd be able to hear the water just running through down the canals, down into the city. When you're walking through the old town, it might look like this is just an old sleepy town where everyone's just like relaxing, but it's like 7 in the morning and everyone is hustling and bustling. They're selling everything: potatoes, carrots. It is only like 5-6 degrees Celsius, and these people are still out here ready to go, trying to sell their produce and their potatoes and their squash and their yucca and everything they have. I mean, these are very hardworking people that are ready to start the day. And I mean, look at these sacks of potatoes right there. That is a lot of potatoes. They've moved that since 5 in the morning and gotten ready to sell them now at around 6 in the morning. That's crazy to me. It's just incredible how hardworking the Peruvian people are. I'm currently standing in the middle of Ollantaytambo. This is the main plaza, the Plaza de Armas of Ollantaytambo. And as you can see around me, you've got a lot of like nice, cute little colonial sort of buildings, storefronts that sort of just lead right onto the plaza. But it is a very, very cute place. You've got a bunch of street vendors just actually selling food. You can see them right over there. And it's just a really, really nice place. What's crazy is that this town exists in the middle of all these mountains. It's literally in the middle of a valley. You can see how tall, how extremely tall these mountains are. It is incredible. It's crazy to imagine that people have managed to build a little town here in the middle of the mountains. And I have to say, even though the sun is up, even though it's during the day, it's quite chilly still because we're at a pretty high elevation, higher than it was at Machu Picchu. So it is definitely, when you come here, wear a coat, bring something warm. But let's go ahead and let's start exploring the ruins of Ollantaytambo, which is the main reason I've come here. Welcome to the ruins of Ollantaytambo. This is a bunch of ruins that are sort of built in the valley. Now, before understanding, the history that comes with it, it's important to know where Ollantaytambo is. Now, if you saw our previous video, I was in Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu is kind of getting near the Amazon. It's sort of like a jungly vibe, jungly sort of place, right? Now here, we are back in the Sacred Valley. We are at a higher elevation. So this was a very important transit route between, the jungly parts of Peru, which are, leading to the Amazon into Brazil, and then the sort of higher elevation parts that would eventually lead to Cusco. Now, there were different sort of plants, different vegetation that would be grown, right? So for example, here in the valley, you would have a lot more potatoes, whereas in the Amazon, you'd have a lot more leafy vegetables, a lot of different other types of vegetables. So this place actually became a very important strategic sort of transit route, not only for people, but also for things, for food, for vegetables especially, because there would be some things on the opposite side of Ollantaytambo that you couldn't find on this side of the valley. So you can clearly see this is the Sacred Valley here. You keep going on the opposite side over there, you'll eventually hit Machu Picchu. So it's just in this unique sort of location between these two sort of contrasting parts of the Incan Empire. We're gonna keep going up, but there's so much history here and it is absolutely incredible to show you all of it. Here again, you see the same sort of classic terraces, just like the ones we saw in 𝐒𝐿𝐶, layer after layer after layer. And the interesting thing is that the actual terraces had two purposes. So the first purpose, of course, to grow crops, right? This would be a great way for you to have terraced farming and you could easily grow crops here. The second reason is to stabilize the slope. By building these terraces, you ensure that what's built on the top won't just start eventually falling all the way down and killing everyone down here. So you actually help to protect the mountain and stabilize it so you can build things on top without everything just collapsing into a landslide down into the town of Ollantaytambo. Now we are currently located in the Temple of the Sun. But if you notice, it's kind of unfinished. They didn't really manage to complete building it. There are some theories, but the most common theory is, of course, they were trying to fight off invaders. They were trying to fight off the Spanish, so they didn't really have time to fully build the Temple of the Sun. But what's incredible about this temple is not actually the lack of it being built, but these things right behind me. These are six different monoliths, and they are massive. Each one of these stones is about 50 tons in weight, and it was moved here from a nearby quarry. How did they manage to move it here and set it? What's also interesting is that there's also a slight carving, there are slight indentations on there that are sort of in a zigzag shape. I'm not really sure what that is, but definitely very interesting. I just explained that these 50-ton rocks, they actually came from the mountain all the way up there. So that just makes it more impressive. Imagine bringing that all the way down and then bringing it back up so that it rests here. I have no idea how the Incans did it, but they are truly incredible engineers. Just like with Machu Picchu and all the other ruins here in Peru, you've got these water canals where fresh water sort of runs down and filters until you get pure, clean water to drink. Now this area behind me is the military fortress, the military area. Now, Remember, we are literally on a cliffside. Like you can see, that's the valley down there. It's a very strategic position because if you think about it, you can see anyone that's coming through the sacred valley. You can have it all protected to yourself, and you are at a higher elevation. What's really interesting about this military site here is that, so the building behind me, this is where they kept all the weapons and everything, but what's interesting is that it was also the last place to fall to the Spanish Empire. When Cusco was captured, when a lot of the other forts were captured, the Incans retreated here. They retreated to this fort here, and they made their last stand here. This is where, because like I said, this is a very advantageous position. They were able to protect themselves for quite some time. They were able to hold out before finally, unfortunately, they still lost to the Spanish. But this is one of the last sites where they retreated to and protected themselves before finally giving in to the Spanish Empire and losing everything that they had. But to imagine the strategic positioning here is truly incredible. Like you can see everything all the way down there. That road through the valley leads to Cusco, and the fact that you have clear access to everything down there means that you have a pretty good shot of winning and maintaining your position, which is why it took the Spanish such a long time, so many tries, before they managed to beat the Incans and take over the fort of Ollantaytambo. Now earlier up there I had shown you guys the little water canals from which water would flow down from the rain and sort of purify until you could drink it. Well, here at the bottom of the ruins, because we've come back down to the base level, here is the fountain. And this is the ceremonial fountain, so just like what it was at 𝐒𝐔𝐁𝐒𝐂𝐑𝐈𝐿𝐿, just like at Machu Picchu, when people come before they do any ceremony, if you are a normal person and if you weren't a noble, you would have to sort of clean yourself with the water, you'd have to sort of purify yourself before you could go up to the temples and meet the nobles and the Incan king if you were lucky enough to. But to this day, the water is still running. It's not like an artificial pipe that sort of runs through. This is what it was for thousands of years, and it's still running to this day. I don't know how the Incans managed to build this canal system. Just like at Machu Picchu, there are some very adorable llamas here, but they are very aggressive. One of them just spit in my face. I don't dare get close to them, but I would not pet them if I were you. And just like that, we have exited the ruins of Ollantaytambo. I have to say, some of the most incredible ruins I have seen here in Peru. Much more expensive. You might think, you know, those terraces up there, that's it. It's not. It's a lot more behind the mountain. A lot of old structures, a lot of places where the normal Incan people used to live, their village. It is truly incredible. Now, once you leave this area, you actually get to this beautiful market area, which is really beautiful. They've got a lot of different colorful things, a lot of colorful bags, ponchos, souvenirs, anything that you might want to take back home. This is a great place to buy it, and you're probably supporting the local community because you're supporting the locals that live here in Ollantaytambo, not some big corporation that mass produces something. So it is a great place to come and check out after your tour of the Ollantaytambo ruins. Now, something incredible is happening today. So Ollantaytambo, that's pretty much it. The ruins, the town. We are actually going to be leaving Ollantaytambo and we're going to a small little town called Huilloc. My host from the hostel has arranged for me to meet a local family. So we're going to be able to meet a local Peruvian family here in the Sacred Valley. Maybe we'll have some food with them, maybe we'll talk with them, and I'm going to show it all with you guys in this video. So it's going to be incredible. We just have to take a bus now to the town of Huilloc, and we're going to be able to meet some local Peruvians and talk with them, which is very exciting. Buenos días. Welcome to the beautiful town of Huilloc, located in the mountains here in Peru. And I'm currently inside one of the houses, but this right here is what Huilloc looks like. This is literally in the mountains. This is exactly how people live. And fortunately, we have a local family here all dressed up in their local clothes. This is how they normally live. They're not dressing up for me. This is just how they live, and we're literally out here in the mountains. It is incredible. This is so awesome, and I'm finally getting a real taste of how local Peruvians live. Inside is the kitchen. They've invited me in, so we're gonna go ahead and sit down, and we're going to maybe spend some time with them, talk with them. It's going to be very interesting to learn more about their life and their culture here. ¿Es el vestimento para los visitantes? Ah, los visitantes. Bueno. Ok, ¿cómo lo hago? Así. Ah. Wow. Muchas gracias. What I am wearing is the traditional clothing here in Huilloc. It is sort of like this. It's very warm actually. It makes you feel very, very warm, very good, very comfortable, especially since these people live in the mountains. So they need warmer clothes to keep them warm, especially at night. This is exactly how people live. They're super friendly, they're super nice. I think they're just preparing some food for us to enjoy.
Que has venido aquí a Huilloc.
Sí, bueno.
Recibimos con muchos cariños.
Muchas gracias.
Bienvenidos a la familia.
Gracias, muchas gracias. I was just talking with the locals here who told me what their daily life routine is like. So they'll wake up at 5 in the morning every day, and they'll go and work. You see up there on the mountains, on the farms. That's where they usually work. That's where they'll grow corn and everything. And these are the houses where they live in. This is literally the small town where they stay. She was telling me that the population here is about 350 families. So interestingly, they count town size by families, not by people. If you count it by numbers, it's probably somewhere around 700 people, but in terms of families, it's about 350 families. They are completely self-sufficient. I just saw when she was sort of heating up food, what she did, she literally took trees up there, took the trees, brought them in, breaking them twig by twig until she could sort of start a fire underneath. I mean, that is how self-sufficient they are. They are completely reliant on themselves. They do not need the outside world, just like the Incans were thousands and thousands of years ago.
Torreja de maíz.
Torreja de maíz.
Nosotros aquí cultivamos maíces.
Y entonces el maíz es de acá.
Ajá, sí.
Ah. Now we're just having some tea. And we have a tortilla de maíz, which I was just asking her. She told me that they literally grow their corn. So the corn that she's using to make the tortilla is literally grown like right here. It's completely fresh, and that's why I keep saying the people here are completely self-sufficient. They do not need resources outside. I just took a bite. It is delicious. She literally fries it over there. And remember what she uses for heating? She uses one of the tree branches, and that's how she heats up her food. That is so interesting that they are completely like, they live by themselves. They don't need technology. They don't need anyone to help them survive, you know, just like the Incans did.
Achacala añas.
Sí.
Chihuaco.
Sí.
Challa.
Sí.
Chullo.
Todas esas palabras son palabras quechua.
Sí.
Sí. Entonces...
Tienes que aprender para hablar quechua, tienes que aprender todo.
Ah, cuando lo escribes, todavía usas como A, B, C, D, G.
Ajá, sí.
Ah, bueno. So we are just here learning about the Quechua language. So what I realized is that people here, not only do they speak Spanish, but they also speak Quechua. And fortunately, she actually just took out one of her old books to sort of show me what the Quechua language is. And you can see they've got all these different words for different things. So like, for example, in Spanish, for butterfly, we would say mariposa, but then in Quechua, it's tuta. So they've got these different words, and they've sort of Romanized it by using Spanish alphabet to explain to kids how to speak these words. Now, before the Spanish came, they didn't have the Roman alphabet, they didn't have ABC, so how did they actually record down the language? And what she told me is that they did little like drawings on walls and paper, so that's how they would remember the language, that's how they would remember the 𝐻𝐿 language, and that's how it's passed on until now. But interestingly, what they're saying is that at school, the kids learn Spanish, but when they come back home, what they do is they learn Quechua. Quechua is their mother tongue, and that's what they're more used to, that's what they're more familiar with.
Ajá, sí, ese tipo de color sale.
She was just explaining to me all the different herbs and the different sort of colors that they come up with. So for example, they use one green grass to like create a green color, they use like a yellow type of flower to make like a yellow colored sort of thread, and then these are the final products that you can see right here, right behind me. These are the final products that they'll usually sell, and what they'll do is they actually take these down to Ollantaytambo, and that's where they sell them, or they'll sell them here when visitors and passengers sort of come and visit the town of Huilloc. But they are so colorful because they use completely natural ingredients. She was saying they don't use a single artificial ingredient, they don't use any chemicals, it's all natural chemicals, it's all natural plants and herbs that are used to make the colors on these beautiful pieces of cloth. Well, unfortunately, the problem is that while I would love to stay here for a longer amount of time, we cannot stay here for longer simply because there aren't many cars that go up to Ollantaytambo later tonight, so we need to start leaving soon, which means that I'm going to end the video here in the town of Huilloc. What a beautiful town and what beautiful people there are here. I mean, they are so incredibly nice to me. They've literally given me everything. They've been super, super friendly, and they have just been absolutely incredible. I cannot recommend to you enough coming up here to Huilloc to visit the people here. They are very, very friendly people, and they will talk to you about their culture, their life. You know, they'll try to teach you Quechua like I did, but it is definitely a very interesting experience. So make sure when you come here to Peru, when you come to Ollantaytambo, please come visit this place. It is incredible. The people here are very, very nice. Ollantaytambo for me has been an amazing experience. I've loved every second of being in this town, being in this region. The Sacred Valley is full of people who are friendly, who are just willing to help you and willing to talk to you. And I've learned that a lot today by meeting the people here. But it's been an incredible day here in Peru. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you did, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more food and travel videos. That's going to be it for today, but we've got more videos coming from Peru, so make sure to stay tuned, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye, guys.